I would like to call to order the Charter Township of Chesterfield regular Township Board meeting for Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m. to order. Could we all please stand, face the flag, and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Berry, would you call the roll?
Supervisor Kersten.
Here.
Treasurer Elliott. Trustee Anderson.
Here.
Trustee Joseph.
Here.
Trustee Hornberger. Here. Trustee Vosberg. Here. Clerk Berry is here.
Item 4, the approval of the agenda. Supervisor Kersten would like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented with the removal of item 8C to be considered separately. Is there any support? Support. Trustee Hornberger? Discussion? Clerk Berry, would you call the roll? I'm sorry.
So that motion would be made under to approve the consent agenda.
You know what? You got me. I'm ahead of schedule.
So just motion to approve the agenda as presented.
That's correct.
Continued support?
Yep.
Okay.
Motion has been made by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Trustee Hornberger to approve the agenda as presented. It's an electronic vote. If you all would please cast your votes. Results will appear once they're done. Motion passes. Blake is on, so I'm not getting away. Motion passes 7-0. Item 5, presentations. I have no presentation scheduled tonight. There are no presentations scheduled tonight. Item 6, department reports. We have a couple of them tonight. Ms. Beauvais from Assessing.
Good evening, thank you. I have a quick update from Assessing from the Board of Review met on December 9th to correct qualified errors and review poverty applications and disabled veterans exemptions. There was a total of 12 petitions that were heard by the board. 2 were recapping of taxable values, 3 petitions for omitted property, 1 delayed veteran determination by the Veterans Administration, 1 amended personal property statement. There were 5 hardship applications. 1 was denied due to incomplete information provided. 2 petitions were denied for income exceeded the guidelines. 1 applicant was approved for 75% exemption, and 1 application was approved at 100% full exemption. The Board of Review minutes were filed with the clerk's office, and all Board of Review decision letters were mailed the next day to the petitioner and all other taxing authorities. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Trustee Vosberg.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Could you tell me what prompts a 75% exemption?
It is based on their income. So next board meeting, I will present a poverty hardship application, and it actually has the income that is allowable because we now have to, the state tax commission recommends that we only approve the income that they have. So we have, you can qualify for 100% if you're in between those parameters, or you qualify for 75, 50, or 25%. And then if you exceed those guidelines, then you don't qualify.
Further questions for the board? Thank you, Kerry. Appreciate it. No further department reports. I'll bring it back up to the board. Treasurer Elliott.
Mr. Supervisor, just a quick note. Treasury has had some residents call us and tell us they've been victims of mail
fraud, mail theft. If that happens, please contact our Township Police Department and report out those incidences immediately. If you are concerned about placing checks in the mail, please be aware that the tax and water bills can be made online at no cost using the e-check in the drop-down box menu. Payments can also be put in the blue mailbox out front and made at any First State Bank location, either inside or out. Thank you.
Any other department reports from board members? Clerk Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just a very brief update for the board on the Clerk's Department's schedule for the balance of the year. The Clerk's Department will be closed to the public between Christmas and New Year to allow our staff to complete all of the end-of-year records preparations and turn over all of our files. So we will be closed to the public on those days.
No one's going to be in the clerk's office?
We will have some staff present, but they will be working on special projects while they're there, so we'll be closed to the public. We've done that the last couple of years.
Trustee Joseph?
I'm not sure what authority the clerk has with regard to directing township employees. I don't like the number of our neighboring communities seem to just completely shut down between the holidays. And for a lot of our residents, that's the time that they have time off from their own jobs to come in and, deal with township business. So I would ask the clerk to revisit that and maybe talk with our HR and the supervisor who has day-to-day operations authority. And if we need to shut the clerk's office down in order to keep up with workflow, that's a problem. And so I don't like the idea of just walling off from the public their government officials. That may be the time that they come in to transact business. So to make a unilateral decision regarding one department for whatever special assignments there are is really no good. And I would ask that the supervisor, our HR department, get involved and commandeer that before we have problems. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. We are open. Time off and closings are mandated by labor agreements along with, as you said, decisions from, we're open. So I'm not sure what staff is leaving. I haven't seen it. We'll check with HR, but we're open for business, the dates and time prescribed, and we'll be here. Any other discussion from the board? Department reports? I will move on to item 7, public comments. Public comments on agenda items only. There is a 3-minute time limit. If you would please state your name, not required, just to help us keep track. Public comments is open on agenda items only. Seeing none, I will move on now to item 8, consent agenda. Clerk Berry.
All items under the consent agenda are considered routine by the board and will be enacted in one motion. There is no separate discussion of these items. If discussion of any item is required by a board member, it will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. A, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of December 9th, 2025. B, approval of the payroll report for week ending December 3rd, 2025. C, approval of the payment of bills as submitted by the Finance Department.
Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read, with the exception, as I previously stated, with the supplemental item number 2 that was added to the 8C. I merely want to discuss item supplemental report 2.
Support.
Motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Trustee Joseph.
And, Mr. Supervisor, just for clarity, you made the motion under the approval of the agenda, which is perfectly appropriate from a parliamentary procedure. The approval of the agenda is inclusive of the consent agenda. So just moving forward, I think it's very appropriate to request, if you have an item under the consent agenda, to do it at the time of the agenda. But in this instance, you're doing it with with item 8, is that your intent to then move that to 8C to then 10A, or where does it go?
Yeah, it'll be discussed in regular agenda. I'm going to keep it as 8C. And the only reason is logistically for the electronic voting process, it would have to be reprogrammed for that, an unannounced alteration. So I'm just going to keep the same number. We'll discuss it separately. It will not be included in the electronic voting process, so it'll be the first item on the regular agenda.
Thank you.
Further discussion? I have a motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Trustee Joseph, to approve the consent agenda as presented with the removal of item 8T, 8C, specifically supplement 2 that has been added, and that will be discussed on the regular agenda. Clerk Berry, call the roll.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph. Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger. Trustee Vosberg. Treasurer Elliott. Clerk Berry, aye.
Item 9, public hearing. There is no public hearing scheduled tonight, so we will move on to item 10, regular agenda, and the discussion of 8C, the supplemental bill run, supplemental report number 2. The reason I'm asking that this be discussed is this item was presented to the Finance Department back in May. It was inconsistent with the APO that the board is directed on travel training and reimbursements. There is missing, in my opinion, several documents. It is not clear, and for that, lack of supplemental information required that we hold our employees to when they travel, I ask that this one be considered separately and up for discussion. With that being said, I will let the clerk entertain any explanation she's willing to do or not. So that's the reason for my motion, and I'll defer to Clerk Berry.
Thank you. So,
Trustee Joseph?
Just understanding what line item you're talking about, Mr. Supervisor?
It would be, it's going to be specifically, give me a second. Line item 101, 215, 864, 000, General Fund, Department 215 Clerk's Office, reimbursement for Clerk Berry for a Laserfish conference that took place in May in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
And with that, I don't have any supplemental information that I can provide you right now at this minute that details the reimbursement requirement and discussed in the APO. So with that being said, I'll defer to Clerk Berry.
thank you. So I attended the Laserfish conference that was held in Las Vegas in April, and myself and Erica Savinsky, our records coordinator, both attended that. I had attended that conference quite some years ago when we first brought on Laserfish. At that time, it was held in California. They moved it to Las Vegas, probably is easier for people to get there, but so we both attended, and we both submitted our reimbursements. I think 41 pages of backup for this reimbursement was submitted. Everything that I had to give them, I gave them. And Erica Zavinsky's reimbursement was issued right away. They had some additional questions on mine, and so I provided them with additional information, and I provided that to them in May. And I provided the hard copies of everything. We had put it through our regular payable system. They asked for all the hard copies in July. That was provided to the finance director. So all of the actual physical receipts she had at that time. And that was pretty much it. It was either funds that I expended myself. It was mileage reimbursement. That is consistent with our APO. And all of the other items were either food, hotel reimbursement, and that was it. Mileage, hotel, and food reimbursement. There was nothing additional on there. It was money that I expended either myself or I utilized existing credits that I had. And I did that individually because I receive a 20% discount on that because of my veteran status. So my husband's veteran status, but it's extended to spouses as well. So save the township 20% on all hotel and food costs, which I thought was a good thing to do. So we did that, and I went ahead and in good faith, went ahead and expended that and submitted my reimbursements. They had questions. I provided everything that was asked for, and that was the last I heard of it. But that was, again, the last I heard of it. It was never brought to the board for approval at that time, and it's one of our outstanding payables, and so it's on this board agenda.
Anything further? Trustee Joseph?
One of you is going to have to turn off your.
Oh.
I think a 20% veterans discount is admirable and a great deal for the township. I think a frequent Las Vegas traveler who is known for bragging about comps because they're a frequent gambler is not. And I'm not too sure why. I have a guess as to why one travel expense packet was reimbursed. My guess is it probably appeared to be consistent with the travel and training requirements. The other, the one that's before us tonight, I imagine is riddled with all kinds of scratch outs and discounts and comps, and it's probably very confusing, which is why it was flagged. I think it is very poor taste and not advisable at all for this clerk to be in Vegas for any conference. This has been problematic in the past. Previous treasurer locked the credit card in his drawer, refusing to allow her because in his opinion it was grossly abused. So I don't know travel that I participate in. I typically have prior approval. I submit an estimate for my hotel stay. If there is ground transportation, I do my due diligence and provide my employer with an estimate of costs. I submit that prior to the trip. I don't know what the policies are here, but it's a pretty straightforward. It's a pretty straightforward process in most organizations. I think I've only attended one training as a trustee. That was my first term, and I went to a new board member training through MTA. It didn't involve overnight accommodations, but I did submit for the cost of the conference. And I believe Trustee Anderson and I split the mileage. So it was reimbursed promptly because I submitted the request for reimbursement promptly and in accordance with the APO. This sounds very messy, and I would recommend that we withhold the reimbursement until the reimbursement packet is submitted, because I'd like to see it and examine what it is that we're asking for reimbursement for. My antenna go up anytime the words Clerk Berry and Las Vegas are in the same bill run. So I would recommend that we withhold and take a look at this before approving it.
Mr. Supervisor, so I did ask, so first off, it didn't cost anything to go to the conference. I was able to have that covered, so we saved the cost of that. which was very generous on behalf of our vendor. And the reimbursement that I submitted was exactly the same as the reimbursement that Erica Savinsky submitted. She submitted them both. There was nothing unusual about it. I asked our new finance consultant the way that if anything was done inappropriately. He said no. I said, how do we normally reimburse people for things like when they use frequent flyer miles or something like that? He said, I do it all the time. And I said, okay, well, is there anything else that we need for this? And he said no, which is why it's on the agenda. There's nothing else he needs for it. I submitted everything that they asked for. So, I mean, I have no problem with someone looking at it. It's been sitting there since April. What's curious to me is that it's been sitting there since April. Nobody else's have been withheld, but mine were. Mine weren't even brought to the board. This is just another punitive action on behalf of people who just don't like me. That's okay. I don't mind that. In fact, what I said to our finance department when they continually refused to bring it to the board at my request, so that this board could see it at the time it happened, we were told not to do that. Okay? Why not bring it before the board and have the discussion at the time? So that was my question. I said, what more do you need? We don't need anything else. We're just not bringing it. Okay? So that was curious to me because I said, look, if it's that big of an issue, I said, can you give me a letter that I can give to my accountant saying I donated this to the township because it came out of my pocket. The township's been using my money and my benefits for 8 months without any compensation for me. And they have no problem doing that. And I said, can I get a letter to give to my accountant so I can at least write it off my taxes, at the very least? Well, they didn't want to do that either. So it was very clear to me, and it continues to be clear to me, especially based on Trustee Joseph's comments that are not accurate, but that's okay. We just say what we want to say because it fulfills the narrative. But it's very obvious to me that punitive damages are taken and that discriminatory practices are being taken because we can. I submitted everything twice that was asked in accordance with our APO. There's nothing that is not in accordance with the APO. All of the mileage was provided. It's exactly the same as the individual who was reimbursed, but mine wasn't. All the food expenses, exactly the same. And an itemized receipt from the venue. And 41 pages of backup documentation. You're more than welcome to look at it. I really wish they would have given it to the board to look at in April or July.
Why didn't you?
We did, well, that was,
You had the
no,
ability to.
that was
you
the
had
question.
ability. Go ahead.
It would not, so I thought I had the ability to bring it also. I don't. I was told at the time from our former finance director that
Stop
that-
blaming her,
I-
please. God, take some responsibility.
Mr. Supervisor, you were the one that told her not to put it on the agenda. Okay, you were the one who told her not to put it on the agenda. Now you're saying that's correct. There is no way anybody was going to put anything on this agenda because it has to go through your approval to get on there. You do have to approve the agenda. And you refused to put it on there, so you refused to approve the agenda with it on there. But I'm more than happy to discuss it. In fact, I was very happy that you put it on and you pulled it off, which I knew you would, because I wanted to have this conversation about why I am the only employee in the entire township who has had to wait 8 months to have this conversation.
Because you abuse
I don't
privileges.
abuse,
That's why.
David, I don't abuse anything, and you know it. So I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Let's try and keep it straight. Trustee Ornberg.
I, for one, would like to see all the supporting documentation. I do have a few things in front of me because I asked for them, and I do have, and I'm not sure where the rooms were reimbursed or anything like that, or were asked you were asked to be reimbursed for them. So I guess, yeah, I would like to see all of the documentation that was turned in. I do have a thing from Mandalay Bay that I think was put on the township credit card, and it starts with spa services of $91.25, spa service charge, salon service charge, noodle shop tax, noodle shop tip, market retail, refreshments, Starbucks, room service tax, room service service charge, room service tip, room service food, room service tax, room service charge, Seabreeze Food Cafe, Seabreeze tax, Seabreeze tip, and it adds up to $601.78. And I'm wondering where the other $962.88
Right, so,
is, and how,
Yeah.
is this what you're asking to be
So-
reimbursed for?
no, I did not.
Then where, then
Hold
what,
on.
how does?
Do you
how
want
do
the
get
answers?
No, I
Do you
want to ask a few questions.
Sure.
If
Well, I wanna
this is
answer
not
them.
part of that.
Right.
Did our township, was this put on a township credit card and did we pay for that?
No.
And
So,
where are you getting $962.88?
Right.
You can give us some itemized
Yep.
things to review, great, but this,
yes.
that's
So,
disturbing.
I don't know why, well, it does, and I'll explain it to you. It's very easy to understand. So, when I went, so that's where the conference was held. So everything was done there. Everything is charged to the room, and then I paid for all of the things that were not food. The only things that the township would charge for was food and lodging and mileage. So some of that $900 is mileage, some of it is food, and some of it is room accommodations. But everything else I paid for. Actually, I paid for all of it. The township didn't pay for any of it. I paid for all of it, and I'm simply asking for the reimbursement for the portion that I was there for the conference for. But I paid for all, at this point, I paid for all of it. So the township credit card charges are separate. But the room charges, because some of it's mine, I paid for all of it. I'm simply asking for the reimbursement for the portion that was food and room. That's it. Everything else is mine. So that's the answer to that. And that's why, and you'll see on the itemized bill, if you have it in front of you, that only $463 of it, I believe, is what I'm asking for reimbursement for the township. So I asked them to break the bill out into two separate bills, but the facility the resort couldn't do that. They couldn't split it out. So I had to pay for it all, which I was happy to do because I did it in good faith that the township would reimburse me for those charges which were appropriate to that conference. So, no, those are mine. I had a township credit card charge for an individual meal that was outside that did not get charged to the room, that Erica and I split, but no, the township credit card did not get charged that. So, at least they shouldn't have been, because I paid for all of that.
Any further questions, Trustee Orton? Clerk Barry, this is exactly why you don't intermingle personal use with the township's credit card, period. So there's no confusion. We have an APO that the board has issued. If you would have simply followed that with the documentation, presented back the receipts, this would have been a non-issue. You intermingled personal finances with something that should not have happened.
I didn't intermingle anything with the township. It wasn't my fault that the resort
Blame everybody. You blame the treasurer.
I'm not
you
blaming
blame, Yes,
anything.
you have.
No,
you always
I'm
blame
not.
somebody else.
No,
And going back, can I finish? I didn't interrupt you.
Sure. Go ahead.
This goes back to May. You approached the finance department. They went through it. They couldn't make heads or tails of it. They brought it to me and I said, send emails, their documentation, there's a paper trail. You provided nothing. I don't know where you're getting the 44 pages from. That's not here. There's very few receipts and very few documentation. This is the residents' money. You do not intermingle.
Oh, I know, you spend it like crazy.
Stop, I'm talking.
You do. You are. I'm sorry.
You want to talk again next time?
I'm sorry.
You don't intermingle personal trips and personal credit card uses with municipal taxpayers' money, period. That's why we have an APO.
Well, it wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't. I paid for it all,
So-
Mr. Supervisor. I paid for all of it.
My position is
All I'm
pretty
asking
clearly
for,
stated.
all I'm asking for is the reimbursement for what the township owes me. And I've waited 8 months. And I've
waited eight-
provided everything that, so here's the thing. So if you want to break out the mileage had nothing to do with the resort, nothing. The food, do you think I didn't eat the whole time I was there? If you don't want to pay for the food, don't pay for the food. Quite frankly, if the township doesn't want to pay its bills, and one of its bills is to me, if they don't want to pay their bills, I would like a letter from our finance department indicating that I have donated this to the township so I can write it off my taxes.
I'm not doing anything. You can resubmit this. You can clarify whatever you want to clarify.
I've submitted it
and then bring
twice.
back. No, you
I've
didn't. It
I've
was
submitted,
not-
it's all in our system. All you.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can-
it's in the
you can-
system,
You can
and
get
nobody
into
wanted
B.
to put their name
You
on
can
it.
get into BSNA. Sarah reviewed it. That's how it got here.
No,
The finance director reviewed
No,
it.
stop
It's-
saying that.
It's all in the system, though.
Your employee, low-level clerk level, you told to put it in BSNA. Your deputy not only authorized it, but then put it on this agenda because every other department head was running away and didn't want anything to do with
No,
it.
because it needed
That's
to be.
exactly what
You know
happened.
why? Because it needed to be, because I wanted a decision made one way or the other.
The decision was made for me back when Vicky Bauer was here, and I said, we're not paying it until she justifies it.
Well,
That was
can
the
you
decision.
justify the mileage
You had the
portion?
ability to put it on,
Can you justify the mileage portion?
Point of order, Mr. Supervisor.
you're right, trustee Joseph, go ahead.
This is not a debate, it's an agenda item, there are
Yep.
like protocols, and you get, if you get drugged down into this rabbit hole, you're never getting out.
You're right.
And from what what trustee Hornberger just read, it sounded like about a dozen trips to Starbucks, the spa, the various restaurants and meals. It sounds like the clerk had a great vacation. I think, I'm not an accountant, but I don't think that she needs anything from the township regarding her relationship with the IRS. And if she wants to write off a spa treatment as a unreimbursed travel expense, I'll visit you in federal prison. But this is laughable. And
I
it's
don't-
if I could
okay.
finish.
Well,
It's-
no,
it's-
when you start talking about federal prison, I don't think that's appropriate.
my
Mr. Supervisor.
speculation is that a spa treatment is not a reimbursable expense. And if you attempt, that's a big if you attempt, I think that would be fraudulent. So that was my speculation. I didn't say anything past that, except you don't need a letter because you didn't donate anything. You were a donor. You received the benefit of the taxpayers who sent you out to Vegas for a Laserfish conference that involved spa treatments, gambling, restaurants, Starbucks,
Mr.
and
Supervisor,
this
this is enough. This is not even germane to the issue. We're talking about
It
receipts.
is, well, one, I have the floor. So, like, my recommendation is we just deny this expense and move on. And I would like to make a motion to deny this expense and simply move on to the rest of the agenda.
Trustee Bosworth, did you want to add anything? Trustee Hornberger.
If we do move on with this, when I asked for clarifying documents, this is all I was given. I was told this was all they had. So I would like the clarifying documentation. And earlier you said that Erica, who I assume is the person that you were traveling with, was reimbursed, and you were asking for exactly what she was reimbursed for. So I guess I would like the documentation for exactly what she was reimbursed for, and that would help in clarifying anything. So if we can have the documentation for what she was reimbursed for, and the documentation exactly with supporting documents of what exactly you're asking to be reimbursed for, what the township has already paid and what you paid. I don't know, I'm so confused at this point. But moving forward, I guess that's what I would like to see if we do move forward.
Trustee Joseph, you good with the amended motion,
Yeah,
the addition?
yeah, I guess the motion on the floor, the motion before us is the bill run minus this expenditure. That's what we're voting on, and then I assume that we will bring this forward when a documentation is submitted at a subsequent meeting. Is that the, well, I guess it really doesn't matter. We're not approving this expenditure tonight, and we will wait to see what comes forward. I guess that's just.
Is that suitable, Trustee Hornberger? So a motion by Trustee Joseph, Joseph, supported by trustee Hornberger, to deny the payment reimbursement, along with giving the opportunity for the clerk to submit additional documentation that justifies a future approval. Does that pretty much cover it? I called out just one specifically. That's trustee Joseph. If you want, we can add that to it. On Schedule 2, there is another payment, and along with that, you want to make a motion, a separate motion after this one to approve that item? We can do that. So, Clerk Berry, would you call the roll?
We need to clarify the motion.
Motion by trustee Joseph, supported by trustee Hornberger, to deny the reimbursement payment as requested, along with the ability for the clerk to resubmit documents in the future and bring it back to the board for discussion. How's that?
That's clearly,
Clerk Berry, call the roll.
Trustee Joseph.
aye.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Trustee Anderson. Trustee Hornberger. Trustee Vosberg. Treasurer Elliott. Clerk Berry, aye.
The next item would be to approve on Schedule 2, the payment, the approval of the payment for, I don't have it in front of me. Can you read off the, stand by. Yes, could you read that off? Semco energy bill for Semco or Public Safety, Semco Energy Bill, Gas Company for $933.86 out of Public Safety Fund 205-336-920-000. Is there a motion to approve the payment of that bill? Motion by trustee Joseph, supported by treasurer Elliott. Clerk Berry.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott. Trustee Anderson. Trustee Hornberger. Trustee Vosberg. Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Now, on to item 10, regular agenda. And this is the, we're back on the electronic system. Clerk Berry, item 10A.
Item 10A is to approve a request by the Treasurer's Office to adopt Resolution Number 2025-43 to collect 100% of L'Anse Creuse School District 2026 tax levy in the summer.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Clerk Berry, supported by trustee Vosberg. Discussion? A motion by trustee, or Clerk Berry, supported by trustee Vosberg to approve item 10A. If you all would please cast your vote. Results will display once all votes are cast. Item passes 7-0. Item 10B.
Item 10B is to approve the request by the Treasurer's Office to adopt Resolution Number 2025-44 to collect 50% of the Anchor Bay School District 2026 tax levy in the summer.
Motion by treasurer Elliott, supported by trustee Vosberg. Discussion? Motion by treasurer Elliott, supported by trustee Vosberg. If you would please cast your vote. All results will display once all votes are cast. Motion passes 7-0. Item 10C.
Item 10C is to approve the request by the Treasurer's Office to adopt Resolution Number 2025-45 to collect 50% of the New Haven School District 2026 tax levy in the summer.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Clerk Berry, supported by treasurer Elliott. Discussion? I have a motion by Clerk Berry, supported by treasurer Elliott to approve item 10C. If you would please cast your vote. The results will display once all votes are cast. Item passes 7-0. Item 10D.
Item 10D is a recommendation from the QBS Audit Committee to award a 3-year contract to Rehmann with the option to extend for an additional 2 years at the quoted rates.
Is there a motion? Motion by trustee Vosberg, supported by treasurer Elliott. Trustee Osberg or Treasurer Elliott, you want to address this through the QBS process at all and how you selected them? Do you want to address how it was done? Again, I'll go back. All of our contracts that we've looked at, this is just one of many contract vendors that are, the QBS teams have met and made decisions on solicited vendors and bids, and this is one of the first ones. Trustee Vosberg?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Yeah, under the executive summary, you can see who the members of the committee were. We met, first we just met to, as members of the committee, discuss the process. Then RFP was prepared and we received bids back. And then we went through those and did a went through the, selected 3 to interview. And then we did some follow-up questions of those 3. And we have before you request to award this to Rehmann.
There's a
And
representative
there's a
from Raymond.
representative.
You don't have to, sir, but if you want to introduce yourself and your team and who you are.
Very good. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dan Merritt. I'm a CPA, a certified governmental financial manager, and a principal with Rehmann Robson. Rehmann is a full-service accounting firm based in Troy, Michigan. We have approximately 20 offices across 3 different states and about 1,000 employees. Rehmann has a specialization in doing local government audits. We've been doing local government audits since Public Act 2 of 1968 that required local governments to have financial statement audits. Our firm does approximately 125 different local government audits, and we work with 80-plus CVTs each year. Myself and my team do about 25 different local government audits here in Southeast Michigan. I'm the auditor for Anchor Bay School District, City of Sterling Heights, City of Rochester Hills, City of Royal Oak, among others in the area, Harrison Charter Township. Looking forward to working with Chesterfield Charter Township, hoping for a fruitful partnership for a number of years.
Thank you, sir.
More than happy to answer any questions. that anyone
Questions
might
from the
have.
board? Clerk Barry?
Not so much a question, but a comment. We did an exhaustive interview process with, we looked at all of the applicants who had submitted proposals to us, and then went and interviewed the top several firms that we felt provided the highest value to the township for in a combination of services that they offered, expertise that they offered, as well as their rates. Took all of that into account. We used a weighted average based on our evaluation metrics, and Rehmann came out to be the best value, overall value. Not only were their rates incredibly competitive, but also what they brought to the table in terms of their level of experience and expertise with not only townships specifically, but also in general with municipal accounting practices. And we were also, I feel, well, I can say for myself, I was very confident and comfortable with the fact that we were going to have some senior, more senior member input from Rehmann that provided also a level of confidence that this is the best choice for Chesterfield Township moving forward.
Any further questions from the board? Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Welcome to Chesterfield.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm sorry. I have a motion by trustee Vosberg, supported by treasurer Elliott, to approve item 10D. If you would please cast your vote. Votes will display once all votes are cast. Item passes 7-0. Again, welcome to Chesterfield, sir. Item 10E.
Item 10E is to award the bid for commercial real estate brokerage services in connection with the sale of township-owned property located at 46,000 Sugarbush Road to Pilot Property Group, and to waive all requirements set forth in Section 9 of the current administrative procedure order for the sale or lease of township property.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by trustee Hornberger, supported by treasurer Elliott. Stephanie, all yours.
Thank you. Like you have in your package, we went out to public bid on real estate agencies that we would like to engage to list our township-owned property. We had 3 bids come back. We interviewed those realtors, and we ultimately decided to engage with Pilot Property Group. So the agenda item in front of you is to award that contract, and then they would be selling that property by public sale. The request to waive the requirement under Section 9 would be like a private sale or a public bid, sealed bid process. We're asking for that to be waived, and then the realtor could solicit the, any offers, and then those offers would then be presented to the board for ultimate decision.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Trustee Anderson.
Yeah, just any expenditures regarding this would be part of the or the selling of the property, wouldn't cost any township dollars, correct?
Correct. Well, there's commissions that would be paid to the realtor, and that was one of the questions that we had them respond to us. So this particular agent is 6% listing and selling agent. If they did both sides of the transaction, it would be 5% to the township, but marketing expenses, anything that is above just the commissions would, be paid for by that realtor.
Thank you.
Any further questions from the board? I have a motion by trustee Hornberger, supported by treasurer Elliott, to approve item 10E. If you would please cast your vote. Results will display once all votes are cast. Item passes 7-0. Thank you, Stephanie. Item 10F.
Item 10F is a recommendation from Supervisor Kersten to appoint the following board liaisons to the various township boards and commissions from January 1, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. Election Commission, Clerk Berry, Trustee Anderson, and Trustee Vosberg. SEMCOG, Supervisor Kersten as delegate, Trustee Hornberger as alternate. Zoning Board of Appeals, Trustee Hornberger. Senior Board, Supervisor Kersten and Trustee Joseph. Streets, Sidewalks, and Pathways Committee, Trustee Vosberg. And Public Safety, Trustees Joseph and Anderson. And Parks and Recreation Committee, Trustee Joseph.
It's pretty much status quo. Couple of the boards are new. They're kind of just getting up and rolling, such as the senior committee. And my hope is that we continue to do the good things that are happening here. So Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to approve the appointments. Is there any support?
Support.
Trustee Vosberg, any questions from the board? Trustee Vosberg, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The Planning Commission is not listed here, and that's because that's already a term longer than these terms, so it's still in effect for the previous appointment, correct?
That is correct. I think our openings come up this year, mid-year on those. Any further discussion? I have a motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Trustee Vosberg, to approve item 10F. If you would please cast. Results will display once all votes are cast. Item passes 7-0. Item 10G.
Item 10G is to approve a recommendation to the Township Board of Trustees to authorize engineering design services to Spalding DeDecker for the Nautical Drive paving special assessment project in the amount of $53,978.40.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Clerk Berry, supported by Supervisor Kersten. Mr. O'Connor.
Good evening. This item is a request to approve Spalding DeDecker to do the design services for nautical paving. It's a special assessment project. It is in the Macomb County Department of Roads 2026 program, and the county will contribute 50% to the project. The county also, once Spalding designs and prepares the plans, the county will take those plans and bid them with other communities to get a bigger job and, in theory, better prices.
Questions from the board? Seeing no questions from the board, I have a motion by Clerk Berry, supported by Supervisor Kersten, to approve item 10G. If you would, please cast your votes. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 7-0. Thank you, Mitch. Item 10H.
Item 10H is to approve a recommendation by the Department of Public Safety to purchase replacement hardware and software in the amount of $141,061.67 as part of our 2025 capital improvement plan.
Is there a motion to approve? Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to approve. Is there any support? Support. Trustee Hornberger? Director Bassett?
Thank you. This is a request, we're looking, again, this is part of our CIP. We planned upgrades to our wireless access points, server room hardware, workstations and laptops as they're at end of life, as well as a project contingency to account for any tariff or other price issues that we hopefully will not deal with, but just in case. The total request is for $141,061.67, and we do have that item budgeted.
Questions from the board? Seeing no questions from the board, I have a motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Trustee Hornberger, to approve item 10H. If you would please cast your votes. Results will appear when all votes are cast. Item passes 7-0. Item 10I.
Item 10I is a request to approve updated job descriptions for the offices of Deputy Clerk and Deputy Treasurer.
Motion by Trustee Joseph, supported by Supervisor Kersten. Director Estrada, sorry.
Last year, the board voted on the approval of the job descriptions. Within those job descriptions, there was also the compensation as well as full-time status listed as drafted by Eric Herpich at the time. What is presented today is just the update to the part-time status and the removal of the benefits from the job description itself.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Treasurer Elliott.
Those are the only changes to this job description?
Working. Okay. There is also the addition of the UKG time and attendance requirement that is required throughout the township for all staff, myself included, even our salary that we are clocking in and out for payroll purposes.
And is there any reason that this has to happen, that you had to make this update?
She's making it at my request because there was some confusion when the deputies came around last time, whether they were full-time, whether the board had any control over it. This is simply a job description that covers, if that position is filled, what the responsibilities and what the essential responsibilities and compensation was removed from this. It was done at my direction, just update it so the board knows about it.
But this applies to the current deputies, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so that the changes is to change it from, it's the same job description, but to change it from full-time to part-time, is that correct? Is there any other reason other than you just wanted clarity that this is done?
Again, as Sarah had said, the compensation was in the original job description that was passed around. At my direction, she removed it, cleared it up. This is simply a job description for those two roles.
Okay, and is this required in order to remove a benefit from the current deputies? Is an update in the job description required in order to remove the medical benefit from the deputies?
This is a job description. It's got nothing to do with compensation. Again, that was removed out of that. The job description should not hold compensation levels in it.
Okay, so compensation is not in this?
Compensation was addressed in the approved 2026 budget, And I'm not sure where you're going, but if you're asking.
Okay.
Yes, January 1, the affected deputies do lose health care and retirement options that were in the original agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Supervisor?
Trustee Joseph?
Yeah, as I understand it, when we passed the budget, we clearly indicated at that time that they were moving from, the previous job description had the deputies, as they currently do, they report and they serve at the pleasure of the elected officials. That was inclusive of any monitoring of their work performance, including the amount of time that they spent or didn't spend in the office. They were compensated on a full-time salary. When the board approved the budget indicated that those positions would be compensated at an hourly rate, that they would move to part-time. And in order to pay them for the work that they do, we would need to know how many hours they actually worked. If they go from a salary, regardless of how many hours, to a hourly rate, this job description, as I read it, just indicates how, the only thing that deals with pay is how they get paid, and that is by clocking in and out with all of the other township employees who presumably don't get paid if they don't come to work, and they get paid when they document the hours that they work. This job description just is consistent now with the board-approved budget, which addressed these deputies pretty comprehensively. We had a lot of discussion that night, but this job description just now matches what's consistent with the budget.
That is correct. All of our employees throughout the township utilize our time and attendance system, even our salaried employees, for tracking purposes.
Great, thank you.
Clerk Berry?
Motion to call the question.
Motion called to question. Is there any support?
Support.
Motion called to question by Clerk Berry, supported by Treasurer Elliott. Clerk Berry?
And this is on the motion to call the question, just for clarity. Clerk Berry, aye. Treasurer Elliott? Trustee Anderson?
No.
Trustee Joseph? No. Trustee Hornberger? No. Trustee Vosberg? Supervisor Kersten?
No. Any further discussion? I have a motion by Trustee Joseph, supported by Supervisor Kersten, to approve item 10I. If you all please cast your votes. Votes will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 4-3. Thank you, sir. Item 10J.
Item 10J is to approve a recommendation by Finance to make the final budget amendments for the 2025 budget.
Is there a motion to approve? Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to approve. Is there any support? Trustee Anderson? Again, the package is with you. These are end of the year adjustments. Just a note, there was Karen Trombley's father passed away this week, so that's why she is not here. So this is pretty much standard practice, end of the year adjustments. Any questions? Treasurer Elliott.
Mr. Supervisor, I noticed in here that there was an adjustment to the summer tax roll collection. And you and I had a discussion in your office about that for the 2026 budget. It would be under the general fund expense, up in the revenue. 101-000-64100.
What, and your question again?
So in the 2026 budget, do you remember us discussing in your office how I had said that we are charging the school districts $4 per parcel to do the summer tax collection, and that totals the 77,000. That's where that number is that's there. And last year, I have no idea why the finance director had made that 115,000, because you and I had already signed that agreement with the school districts. And here, we're doing this budget amendment, but when we approved the budget just recently, we had the discussion, you, I, and Mr. Adair, about the same issue, that this was 115,000, and I had explained to you that there would be no way that the school districts would agree to that, to be able to pay, because that would be about $6 per parcel that they would be we would be charging, and they're just not going to do that. The state of Michigan reimburses $2.50. They have agreed to pay us $4 per parcel, which is $1.50 more than what the state of Michigan, because they recognize that the costs are above that amount originally. I just want to bring that to your attention, that we're doing this a budget amendment, and as you look at the 2026 budget, that still reads 115,000 in the 2026 budget, and I'd like to be conscientious and point that out while we're here. Just a comment. Thank you.
Some of it, we can, or you can, or I can address it with Mr. Adair when he comes in and
Okay,
get a
thank
better
you.
understanding. Trustee Joseph?
Was that a comment regarding the 2026 budget? This agenda item is just an amendment to the 2025 budget.
It's the same issue on both budgets, and I just wanted to bring that.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments? We'll point that out to Mr. Adair and see what the clarity is on it. I have a motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Trustee Anderson, to approve item 10J. If you would please cast your votes. All the results will be displayed once all votes are cast. Item passes 7-0. Item 11, addendums, there are none. Item 12, public comments, 3-minute time limit. If you would please state your name for the record, not required, just help us keep track. Public comments section. Mic is open. Seeing none, I will move on to item 13, board comments. I will start tonight with Trustee Anderson.
Make it quick here. I just want to, again, thank you, Paul LaFata, wherever you're at, for your input with our township. I'd like to wish everybody a safe and pleasant New Year's and Christmas. Take care.
Trustee Joseph.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just a couple of revisiting kind of issues for me. There is a lot of discussion. We haven't heard from the usual suspects that come to the podium, but their presence on Facebook regarding some of our recent votes. To just be clear, my vote for the water rate increase was based on very concrete evidence of need to replace infrastructure, something we haven't done in the township in a consistent basis. We have several projects that are out there, millions of dollars worth of infrastructure upgrades. We have a concerted effort, not only in our 2026 budget, but really all of 2025, to separate issues involving facilities and operations or DPW from general fund expenditures. I appreciate the work that was done there. And we have really paid no attention to Great Lakes Water Authority water rate increases for the past several rate increases, and we have already been given some information that they intend to raise rates again this summer. So those rate increases, there's nothing the township can do to save money on a rate increase. It is unfortunately what the Great Lakes Water Authority sets. We've passed up several of them and taken the deficit out of the enterprise fund. We simply cannot continue to do that. And so that was the reason for the vote. The other area that I wanted to thank Mr. Supervisor, the Senior Advisory Committee, by far the most rewarding committee assignment that I've really ever had. And I appreciate the work that's done on that committee, not only by our director, Ms. Vanderson, but also the senior volunteers. We do great things there, and we resolve a number of issues that had previously really created problems for the seniors. And so I'm grateful to continue my work on that committee. And in moving forward in 2026, I would really strongly encourage, and I plan to work alongside, and as much as he'll have me, Mr. Palin and our Planning Commission, I would really like to take a look at some of our ordinances. We've had a few recently that have tied us up in litigation, that being billboards and signage. But I think what could be coming in 2026 is even more critical, and that is the use of these AI data centers. We've seen them in around the region in Saline, Lyon Township. Recently, the Washington Township Planning Commission held a public meeting where they were packed to the edges of the room with residents expressing concerns about the megawatt data centers. And for those who are not familiar, these seem to have the support of our current governor and her administration. One of the candidates in 2026 is actually married to an executive with an AI data center connection. So there seems to be an incentivized path forward in the state of Michigan for attracting and looking at municipalities to host and house these data centers. And for those of you that are not familiar, an average 100 megawatt data center uses more power than 75,000 homes combined. It also consumes about 2 million liters of water per day, and that's the equivalent water consumption of about 6,500 households. Water is a very sought-after necessity for these data centers, but because electricity is more costly than the water, companies often prioritize building their facilities in places with cheap power. And although DTE hasn't been, I think, great in terms of upgrading the service capacity for Chesterfield Township residents, in all of the data centers that are being contemplated around the state, they seem to bend over backwards to accommodate the data centers. The other very, very concerning thing is the amount of water. As I mentioned, the water usage in these data centers is astronomical. The mission to provide AI, artificial intelligence, and the use of things like ChatGPT, I cannot express strongly enough how concerned I am about this movement. It, I think, dumbs down our society, and study after study is talking about the harm and associated with this push for AI and the data centers that fuel them. I'm grateful. I have daughters. I have 2 biological daughters and one that I've sort of adopted, and they are very knowledgeable in these areas, and I appreciate the conversations that I've had recently with them as they stay on top of these things. And as I indicated, I would really like to take a look at our current zoning ordinances to make sure that we don't have a situation where an AI data center can move into a zoned district and find themselves in a permitted use, so that we wouldn't require a board approval if it's not a rezoning or a special land use. And those are the areas that have prompted neighboring communities to turn out and vote against it because they had the opportunity in a special land use or rezoning capacity. But I would like to make certain that our ordinances, zoning ordinances in particular, reflect the burden that a data center could place on our township infrastructure, and something that I'd really like to focus on, and perhaps talking with Trustee Bossberg, our liaison to the Planning Commission, as well as Mr. Palin, to take a look at our ordinances, and I will stay on top of that in 2026 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan, there's a plan review up for 2026, correct? Master plan review? Yes, that has to take place? Okay. Just Trustee Ormer. Trustee Vosberg.
I'm good, thank you.
Treasurer Elliott. Clerk Berry.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Real quick, we do have a closed session tonight. I just want to cover some things since this is our last meeting for the year. We've had a very significant year. We'll be emailing to the board, as I said at the last meeting, several projects and lists that have been accomplished by the board, majority of the board in some cases, others. Most of the focus when you go through the pages is exactly as what was stated by Trustee Joseph. We focused on water and sewer infrastructure improvements across the board. Those were the major projects that we took on. We'll continue to do that. We focused on renovation and updates to our facilities throughout the township. We invested heavily in equipment again, not just in public safety, but in DPW across the board. As I said, water and sewer. We looked for accountability. We have a vehicle tracker fleet throughout our fleet in the township, cameras included. We replaced public safety weapons, updated them. We had a great Cheers to Chesterfield event. The Bassmasters hosted them again this year. Again, park improvements, park designs, light poles and safety, all the way up north of 23 Mile Road on Gratiot, and then across 23 Mile Road with a future pathway, walking lane across 23 Mile Road. Invested in drones, invested in defibrillators for our firefighters, work gear. Partnered with the county on several projects, drain projects, and I don't know if you've been following the drain commissioner's post that she posted specifically under 23 Mile Road. We found a huge obstruction, man-made. The drain commissioner called immediately and said, you need to come out and look at this. That is going to alleviate, that was a big fix, and it never would have been discovered. Invested in our seniors, our Parks and Rec programming, and my plan moving forward is into 26 is to do the same. Kind of got a playbook here that has been developed over my time here, the supervisor's schedule. And again, this schedule is a public document. It gives a timeline of events that occur, key events that occur throughout the township that are, whether they be budget preparation, which by the way begins in March of 2026, and now addresses retention, detention, SAD districts, all of those things that prior to were just kind of haphazardly addressed and managed. So we're getting a grip on them, we're handling them, getting better at being better organized. And the goal, again, through 2026 is get better at that. I just got a commentary. I'm accountable for every decision I make, like it or not. I sit here proud and I make the decision. It doesn't satisfy a lot of people sometimes, but you know what? I'll take the phone call. I'm not afraid of the phone call. I don't do things in retribution. I do things for clarity and understanding. And if people take that as retribution, I don't know what to tell you. I believe that I'm a 38-year employee of the township, both in the law enforcement side and in the elected side now. I have nothing but pride in this township. I'll continue to do that, just like every other elected official up here. We don't do it because it's just something we want to do. There's a lot of work and a lot of pride that goes into this. Again, there's nothing personal. This is about doing the right thing all the time, even when people aren't looking. So with that being said, we do have a closed session tonight. I will make a motion to enter into closed session. Is there any support?
We need to state the reason why we're going into closed session, Mr.
Clerk Berry,
Supervisor.
go ahead.
Closed session of the board to discuss labor relations strategy pursuant to Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act.
I have a motion by Supervisor Kersten, supported by Treasurer Elliott to go into closed session. Clerk Berry, call. All those in favor?
Nope,
I'm
you gotta
sorry.
do a roll
I'm sorry. You're right. Clerk Berry, call the roll.
Supervisor Kersten.
Aye.
Treasurer Elliott. Trustee Anderson. Trustee Joseph. Trustee Hornberger. Trustee Vosberg. Clerk Berry, aye.
At 8:15. Good. Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to return to open session. Is there any support? Support by trustee Anderson. Clerk Berry, call the roll.
At,
At 8:33.
thank you. Supervisor Kersten?
Aye.
Trustee Anderson? Trustee Joseph? Trustee Hornberger? Trustee Vosberg? Treasurer Elliott? Clerk Berry, aye.
Item, coming out of closed session, Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to approve a tentative agreement with Labor Group PLC Clerical Union. Is there any support? Trustee Vosberg, discussion. Clerk Berry, call the roll.
Supervisor Kersten?
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger? Trustee Anderson? Trustee Joseph? Trustee Vosberg? Treasurer Elliott?
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye.
Supervisor Kersten will make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? We're adjourned at 8:34.